What's up, everybody? Big Swede coming at you once again from Swede Studios. So today I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about one of the unsung heroes of the studio game, the microphone. You know, a lot of times with YouTube channels that cover guitar gear or studio stuff, the guitars, amps, pedals, the rack gear, that stuff kind of takes center stage, takes that spotlight, and we forget about the microphone sometimes. I know it's a tool that we're using to capture our sound and everything, but I don't know about you, but for me, microphones are cool to look at. There are a lot of microphones out there that are built with a lot of style and beauty, and they're just cool to look at. So for the longest time with me, if I wasn't using a microphone, it was in the case, stored away, out of sight. And I kind of wanted to change that. So I've been spending some time. I have a built-in cabinet over here on the side that was used for just miscellaneous storage. Some of that being the aforementioned microphone cases. When I wasn't using them, I'd pack them up and I would throw them in the cabinet over there. But I wanted to change that and set up a space to be able to actually see the mics, display them. So I cleaned out that cabinet. I built some shelves in there, put some lighting in there. That way I have a place for the microphones to shine visually as well. So we're going to take a minute and I'm going to show you the Swede Studios mic locker. Now, I don't have the most expensive, impressive mic collection. There's dudes out there that have way more expensive stuff than me. There's dudes that have way more mics than me. But in my opinion, I've got some solid pieces that get the job done, and they're cool to look at. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to show you the mic locker, and then I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the mics that I have and situations I would use them in. So let's go look at some mics. All right, I'm going to go handheld here, so I apologize in advance if there's shaky video or audio issues, but we should be fine. All right, there we go. The Swede Studios mic locker. So we got on the bottom shelf there all of the dynamic mics, and on the top shelf all of the condensers. So as I said, we're gonna just do a quick rundown of all the mics, what I primarily use them for, and maybe some alternate use cases. We're gonna start off here with the trusty Shure SM57. I started my studio with a pair of these. At that point, I was just really recording guitar, wasn't really doing much else, so these things are workhorses. Any studio in the world is probably going to have a few of these kicking around. The other one is always set up in the studio. It's usually on a guitar cab. You can, again, guitar cabs, use them on drums for snare mics. You can use them for vocals in a pinch. Pretty inexpensive and fairly versatile mic. Next up is actually kind of a set of microphones. I got this all in a kit. It was a drum mic kit from Audix. So we have a pair of Audix D2s, a D4, a D6, and an Audix i5 over there. So really what I'm using these for is toms, so like the D2s on maybe your rack toms, the D4 on your floor tom, and the D6 is a really nice kick mic. Additionally, I've used that D6 for miking bass cabs. The nice thing about these Audix mics is since they are designed primarily for drums, for close miking drums, they got a really good SPL rating or sound pressure level. So they're not going to distort with high levels of sound. So, like a bass cab, it's got a lot of sound pressure coming off of that cone on your bass cab. That D6 there it's not going to distort with that the high SPLs. The i5 primarily designed as a snare mic, but very comparable to the SM57 there. You can use it on a lot of different things. Generally, if I'm doing snare and I'm like doing snare top and bottom, I got the SM57 and the i5 on there. But I've used those before as vocal mics as well. You can put them on guitar cabs. Pretty versatile mic. In the middle here, we have the Shure SM7B. Now, you've seen this mic on pretty much all of my videos. It's primarily set up on my desk there as the mic I use for my live streams and any of my talking head videos type stuff. I'm using that. I use it a lot on vocals. I've used it on guitar cabs. I've used it on drums. So it's a really super versatile, good sounding mic. One of those mics that I would not hesitate to recommend to somebody who's looking for one mic to kind of start out with that is versatile, kind of a do-it-all kind of mic. I would recommend the Shure SM7B there. $400, so it's a little bit pricey for somebody just starting out, but it does a lot of different things pretty well. Some people would say, go with a condenser, but in my opinion, if you don't have a really well treated room acoustically, a condenser is going to pick up a lot of that room noise, whereas a dynamic is going to reject a lot of that room noise and primarily just pick up what's in front of it. So in my opinion, when you're just starting out, if your room's not really treated, go with a dynamic. Something like the SM7B there, can't go wrong. It does a lot of things really well. All right, moving on to the condensers. We're going to start off here with the Audix ADX51. This is a small diaphragm condenser. As you can see, I've got 3 of these. These came in the same drum mic package as these Audix Dynamics down here. Primarily what I'm using these for on drums is cymbal mics. So I have a pair there that I use as overheads for like the crashes. And then I have a third one if I'm going to mic up, let's say, the ride cymbal separately or maybe a China. I would generally put those on there. I do also use these a lot with recording acoustic guitars. And I'm actually putting together a video right now talking about my technique for miking up acoustics, so I'm not going to go too in depth in it, but I would use a small diaphragm condenser like that in conjunction with a large diaphragm condenser in an XY pattern. Again, if you're interested in how I do that, how I set that up, stay tuned for that video. It's coming pretty soon. But yeah, like I said, cymbal mics or acoustic guitars is the primary use case for me for those ADX51s. Next up is we have this pair of AKG P220s. Now, these were the second set of microphones that I picked up after the SM57s there. I was looking to do some more vocal work. And, while you can, like I said, use the SM57 for vocal work, I wanted something that sounded a little bit fuller, a little bit nicer sounding. Large diaphragm condensers are really, really good on vocals. Again, like I said, you have to be careful of the room noise. If there's, let's say you have air conditioner running or like there's a fridge in the other room that kicks on every once in a while, condensers will pick that stuff up. So you have to be really careful. But they do sound really good. And I think these run for about $200. Not overly pricey, but they sound really good. Come with a shock mount. Really good deal there, in my opinion. I use these on vocals. I use them as far as drums go. I'll use these as like a stereo pair of room mics. You can use them on guitar cabs. Lots of different things you can use them on. You just have to be aware of the SPL levels, so you don't want to, if it, depending on the condenser you're using, if it has a lower SPL, you don't want to slam it right up on a guitar cab because it'll start to distort and can possibly even damage the capsule if you do that. So just be aware of that. Last but not least, certainly, is right here in the middle, the crown jewel of my collection, the Warm Audio WA87. Now, if you know microphones and you know Warm Audio, this is basically Warm Audio's recreation of the very famous Neumann U87. Basically what Warm Audio does, if you don't know, they'll take, vintage gear, Very famous stuff that sounds good. A lot of people have used, and they will try to recreate to the best of their ability that piece of gear in a more affordable way. So, you know, you take a vintage Neumann U87, it's probably going to run you $5,000 to $10,000. Even if you buy a brand new one, the new version, I think it's called the U87AI, that's still going to run you brand new. It's going to run you $3,500 to $4,000. For me, just starting out, you know, I can't justify spending that kind of money on a microphone. Not yet anyway. So for me, this is a great option. I have some other warm audio gear, so I like what they do. They recreate fairly faithfully what these pieces of gear sounded like. Now, is this an exact copy of a Neumann U87? No, it's never going to be exactly the same. But, you know, if you were to take 5 vintage U87s and do a head-to-head with them, they're all going to sound slightly different. That's just the nature of the beast with vintage gear. So it sounds really good. It looks awesome. Look at that thing. That thing is beautiful. But everything I've run this thing through sounds great. If I'm looking to do a large diaphragm for vocals, you can guarantee this is the mic I'm hanging up. I might start using this as a mono room mic. I can't imagine it would sound bad. It's probably going to get mic'd up on acoustic guitars here pretty regularly. Again, everything I've put through it so far sounds phenomenal, so no complaints. Money well spent there, in my opinion. So there we go. That's all of the mics in the collection at the moment. Down here at the bottom, we do have just some miscellaneous storage. Like I said, you know, the aforementioned cases for the mics. If I'm ever transporting things, going somewhere else, I'll throw them in the cases, protect them a little bit. We got some, you know, some cables, some guitar pedals there. I got a volume and a wah. If the collection ever expands to the point where I need to use this space down here, obviously I'll find some space for those. But for now, I've got ample space to expand a little bit more before I have to worry about finding new places for the other stuff. All right, guys, so there you go. My humble collection of microphones and what I use them for generally. Let me know in the comments, what's some of your favorite microphones, both as a recording tool and as far as aesthetics go? Like, what do you think is one of the cooler looking microphones out there? Hit me up in the comments. Let me know. As I said, I do have that video coming soon on how I go about miking acoustic guitars, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned to the channel. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay in the know on when the videos are coming out. With that said, we'll catch you guys next time.